Today I'm combining two of my favorite things, one pot cooking with Cajun food to bring you the most delicious dinner tonight, jambalaya. A good old classic chicken and sausage jambalaya is just one of the greatest gifts known to our culinary world. And let's take a minute to appreciate the pot I'm gonna make it in. Like a replica of the original Magnolite. This is what all the folks from New Orleans used to make their gumbo and jambalaya and really everything. And I've always wanted one, so I really wanted to make jambalaya today so that I could buy me one. Whenever anyone asks me, like, what's your favorite meal to cook, I never can really come up with an answer, except I always say it's something that can be made in one pot. So this is your one pot meal. It can feed an army, it can feed your family. You can make this as big or as small, and it's really kind of cooking on a budget because none of these meats individually are really expensive. So one batch is gonna feed a lot of people. I'm gonna go ahead and prep all my ingredients because once we get over to the stove, you don't have to do anything else. So I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They hold up the best to a longer cook time. They're cheap, they're flavorful, and this is what you should be doing. So I'm going to just kind of chop it up. It'll kind of shred up a little bit. I'm gonna take off some of the little fat. We don't need it. You can customize this dish to your liking. Some people put shrimp in it. You might put tomato in it. The Creole Cajuns usually add tomato to their jambalaya and their gumbo. I'm gonna do just the Cajun with no tomato, but it has so much flavor. I think every culture has a version of this dish. You know, like people in the Low Country, it's called chicken perlo. In Spain, it's called paella, but it's the same concept, just different flavors. For the sausage, I'm using two different kinds. One has more of that classic andouille flavor, and then one has more of just like a southern smoky flavor. Andouille sometimes can be different spice levels. A lot of times it can be a little too spicy for my kids, so that's why I usually will add a milder smoked sausage version in there. This is what is going to start the jambalaya, because this is the same way I start my gumbo. It creates the flavor that's gonna carry through the whole dish. All right, the third meat I'm using is ground pork. Sometimes people will use a cut up pork shoulder. It just requires a little longer cooking to the whole process. So this is kind of a good little shortcut. Plus it gives you another texture of meatiness, similar to that of dirty rice. My friend over there / work helper, who happens to be from Louisiana, says she always puts ground pork in hers. So I'm gonna do that too. Like any good Cajun recipe, it starts with the Holy Trinity, which is a combination of onion, celery, and peppers. Bell peppers, classically green. I'm gonna twist that up just a little bit. This is the best combination. The French have a Mirepoix to start all their recipes, which is carrots, onions, and celery. The bell pepper, instead of the carrots, turns it into the Trinity. And then garlic, you gotta have garlic. The celery, I like to include some with the leaves in it because the leaves have so much flavor. Usually one pot cooking lends itself to more affordable meals, and this is the definition of that. This is one of those dishes that just keeps growing and growing. The bad news about this is that it's hard to cook this for just a couple people. So if you're gonna make a pot and you don't have that many people, invite your friends over, or be prepared to have leftover. It freezes beautifully and reheats beautifully. Green bell pepper is classic in the Trinity. I'm gonna do one green bell pepper and half of a red bell pepper, just for some contrast. Even though I don't have the chance to go to Mardi Gras all the time, I like to always cook this type of food during Mardi Gras. It makes me feel like I'm there and celebrating, and it gives me another excuse to cook this. Cajun food is like maybe my favorite food next to Italian. I just think that's where the best food is, down in New Orleans. Okay, not traditional, but I'm adding in a jalapeno without the seeds because I want to. I mean, when you have any kind of Cajun food, you know it's gonna be just packed with flavor, oftentimes with a little kick, and I like a little kick. And then garlic. Garlic is 100% essential in this dish. The garlic gets added in later than all the veggies, so it doesn't burn. That's pretty much all the prep. Now we cook, come on now. Wish I had that Cajun voice. Let's break in the new pot, shall we? At my house, I have my container with bacon grease in it. I don't have that here, but I did find some bacon grease. It'll make its own grease in there, so I'm just gonna add a little bit to just kind of help get it going. And it draws out fat that we can help brown the other meat. Once your sausage is well browned, I'm gonna take it out and add in the other meat to brown. You wanna be sure and leave all that fat back in the pot. P.S. I'm loving this pot. Okay, now I'm gonna add in the chicken. I'm gonna season the chicken with a little bit of salt and pepper. Once that gets going, I'll add in the pork. Gonna get a little more color on that, and then I'll take that out and add the veggies in. Oh, forgot about something. Look what else I got. It's like a roux paddle or spatula. I don't know what they actually call it. When people make big pots of things down in New Orleans, they have a giant paddle. This is a smaller version for a smaller setup. This is what helps get the flavor off the bottom. In with the trim. Trinity. Okay, the veggies are gonna help lift up some of that color, and then we're gonna cook them down until they are golden brown. This has gotta be the most crucial part of the jambalaya process, is cooking this step long enough. If you've ever had like real good authentic jambalaya, it's got that dark color to it. That happens at this stage, not just the browning of the meat stage. So you're gonna cook these veggies down until they are like rich golden brown. It could take half an hour. This is when I like to have a cold cocktail on hand. Good things are starting to happen. Chopping up a little bit of fresh thyme. Thyme goes in most of my Cajun cooking. However, I do not like dried thyme, so I always add fresh, but you can do whatever you want. You can see how brown the veggies are, and they're super soft, and we've created another layer of flavor on the bottom. At this point, we're almost done, so I'm going to add in the garlic now, along with some Cajun seasoning and the thyme. I'm gonna add that in and cook it for just a minute or two. And now in goes the chicken stock. So I'm just gonna add in about a cup first to deglaze all that, and then we'll add in the rest. That's how you clean the pot. Okay, we have cleaned the pot. You see all that flavor? You can't rush that step of sauteing the veggies. All right, add in the rest of your chicken stock. Stock or broth. I usually use stock, but this is what I had today. And I kind of try to like wash the sides of the pot with it. That was gonna be good. The meat is going back in now, and we're gonna bring this whole mixture up to a boil, and then we'll add in our rice. Oh, I forgot the bay leaves. Those also go in. This will be the best pot of jambalaya I've ever made. I'm just already gonna call it. Once it's up to a boil, you add in the rice. I've given this a little rinse to get some of the starch out so it doesn't get like really gluey or sticky in here. Going in with about 3 cups of rice. At this point, you could put it in the oven to finish it. Of course, we're just gonna finish it right here. So I'll bring that back up to a simmer, and then I'm gonna lower the heat and cover it. And then once it's absorbed, we're having jambalaya. I gotta turn on that music, that Cajun music. Now that we've come to a simmer, reduce the heat. I think we're just about 20 minutes away from heaven. Takes about 25 minutes, give or take, for the liquid to be absorbed into the rice and the rice to be tender. You don't want to stir during that time. We're not trying to create like a sticky, mushy situation. Oh, look at what it looked like. I do want to check without stirring it to make sure it's all done. Oh, it's good. It's not quite as tender as it needs to be, so I'm gonna keep going a little bit. You can always just add in a little extra broth and let it go a little longer. So I'm gonna go another 5 to 10 minutes, so total time about half an hour. Our masterpiece is ready. Once you've got it how you want it and it's completely done, I like to just turn off the heat and let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then you're ready to eat. You ready? Come in here and look at this. Look at this. All right, you wanna take out the bay leaves and then just give it a little fluff. Good color. The rice has absorbed the liquid, but it's not dried out, and that's what you want. That meat is tender. Just so proud of it. Little bits of chicken, bits of sausage, and then that little ground pork in there is a nice touch. I like to finish mine with some fresh green onion and a little hot sauce. I didn't make it so spicy that, you know, it's gonna burn your mouth, because my kids like a little heat, but not too much. So I always serve things like this with hot sauce, because then you can add as much heat as you want. For me, the hot sauce is more about the little vinegar to add, you know, to kind of cut some of that richness. There's just a lot of flavor in this bowl right now. All right, oh yeah, that's the perfect bite. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just perfect. I mean, I think I already said everything. There's just so much flavor, but that meat, that chicken is cooked so perfectly. I mean, it almost melts in your mouth. It is so tender. The little bits of ground pork in there just add that perfect little contrast of flavor and texture. And then of course the sausage is its own flavor bomb in and of itself. Remember how dark that broth was before we added the rice? You know, color equals flavor, and all that flavor has been absorbed into each grain of rice. I'm serious, like, you just need to make it and let the good times roll. That's what they say. Should have gotten a cold beer. Okay, well, hold on. I don't know if we have any. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Can we also take a moment to appreciate the volume of food that this recipe created? I mean, you could easily give 10 people a serving like this and feed them all for about $2, maybe even less. I think enough. Maybe it was the pot. I don't know, but it's the best I've ever made. Laissez les bon temps brûlés. Let the good times roll.